thing's going.
You're busy.
All right, we are all live. We just want to double check here. We're waiting for Instagram to Instagram. We are live. All right, so we
Are
finna
we?
go live. Yeah, Instagram. We are live. So, a good evening, everybody. We are Hard R Radio. I'm Preach here with Zay. Kiani's handling some business, so shout out to her. She'll be listening in, participating, share, like all that stuff. Excuse me, I gotta clear my throat. How was your week, sir?
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. I've been having, getting old sucks.
Yes, it does.
So aches and pains, and it's just this is whack.
That's how old you are. This is whack.
I listen. Don't be getting on me about my old school slang. I think the old school slang is the best slang.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. Like, what you still use old school slang? Like, you still say fresh and all that?
What? What? I think fresh is dope.
Oh my, yuck! As the kids would say, that was so cringe.
That was
Um,
so cringe. Jesus Christ.
this is what we deal with. All right, let's get straight into it. So obviously the biggest story this week has been the story of Rodney Hinton Jr., whose son was shot dead by police. He was denied bond. He is accused of allegedly ramming his car into another police officer in the same police department, as it's being described as payback for the murder of his son, who was killed by. This was in Ohio. I think it's Hamilton County, and so I guess it was released. The body cam footage was released of the actual incident that happened between his son and the authorities. And unfortunately, he was shot numerous times in the back. They said there was a gun. I don't know. I haven't seen a outlet confirm or deny whether he had a gun or not. I'll try to do research as we go. And a lot of people are obviously sharing their opinions on this story. Um, First off, Zay, what's your immediate thoughts of this whole situation? As tragic as it is.
Um, it's very tragic. And as a father myself, I understand. I understand um, why, right? Losing a child is one of your biggest fears. Is one of my biggest fears, right?
Mm-hmm.
And losing a child to, in an incident where somebody else takes my kid's life like that, I understand, you know, the reason why he did what he did, right?
Okay.
In the moment, he saw the dude and
He blacked
he
out.
just did what he did,
He
right?
blocked.
Definitely. But I don't want to, you know what? The thing about this is I as far as the details that I know, right?
And let me
And
just let me let
what
me
is
just,
being
let me and just
what
let
is
me
being
let,
told to us,
let
what
me
is
just
being
interrupt
told
you.
to
Let me
us.
just interrupt
Okay.
you 1 second. In the body cam, well, so this is the Cincinnati Police Department has said Ryan Hinton, his son, appeared to point a gun at the officers, but the body cam footage does not clearly show that. So it's not been
See,
confirmed
I
yet.
looked at the footage though. I looked at the footage and it looked like he was pointing their way,
I did see.
right?
I saw the footage as well. Right.
So I don't, but the footage is mad fuzzy,
Okay.
right? If the reality is that the kid, because first of all, they popped out of a stolen car,
Mm-hmm.
they all start running, and if you pointed a gun, you're gonna get shot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, given given that, just that situation, like if my son is my if my son or one of my children is doing something that is against the law, it's a risk that they're taking to getting caught or getting killed.
Okay.
Like me killing the cop is almost like justifying what my kid was doing. Now I'm basing this on the information that we have so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if the gun was a throwdown. We don't know if, you know what I mean. Like there's so many variables in this, but just given this the information that we have right now, it's very difficult for me to be like, oh, he was justified in doing what he was doing, what he did, this, that, and third, because a life is a life. Bottom line,
Hundred
that's the
percent.
way I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? A life is a life. So If his son was out wilding out and doing crazy stuff and was carrying, you know, he was putting his life in jeopardy.
Here's the thing too, though. So I think with this story, there's so many like angles to look at this with. One is the mind state of a parent losing their son. Let's separate like they're separated but equal, meaning you're looking at a father who just saw a body cam of the killing of his son. Okay, we're gonna put that into its own box, and the
Mm-hmm.
reaction to witnessing that, a father will, um, he will react. He might lose his mind, and you can already see with the bond hearing, you already see what his lawyer is trying to do. He is trying to paint this as temporary insanity, essentially.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect. Then you have the aspect of people that I see online where, well, maybe if you raise your kid right, he wouldn't put himself in that position in the first place. That's that's another category. That's another box that we're gonna put this in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the third is just basically police and race relations in general in this country. And was this a overzealous cop who opened fire on a black youth? No, I mean I say how old was he? He was 18. His son. Let me just confirm. Yeah, his son was
Yeah, I'm not
18 years
sure.
old. So that's a,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, I want to use the word man loosely. Like he's 18. He's considered a man, but he's put himself in a situation where you know why would you put yourself in that situation? You're in a stolen car. Why would you steal a car? And was this police overreacting to an incident and that we've seen numerous times? And he ended up having to pay for it. Ryan Hinton had to pay for it. So let's first attack it in the aspect of the raising of the son.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sorry. You know what? Forget that. Let's start it with a father watching his son being murdered. Forget what position you want to put him in. Anytime you see a parent have to deal with the loss of a child, there's no action justified in what they can do because they all logic goes out the window. If I see my son or daughter, that's for anybody, they will react in a certain way, and you can say you do lose your mind. You do go a bit insane if you do see something like that, especially if you believe that your son was killed unjustly. So I ask you that question. Let's start there. You see one of your kids, and God forbid this ever happens. I hope this never happens to anybody. It's always tragic when it does happen. But I know you personally. I
Mm-hmm.
can't imagine if you witness one of your older, you have teen kids around that age, and you saw that one of your teen kids, regardless if they put themselves in that position, you saw one of your teen kids get killed on camera. Think about how you would react. I don't think you'd be like, well, why they put himself in that situation? You immediately like, I lost my baby, I
No,
lost my
but
son, or I lost my daughter.
yeah, I got you. But you know what? I yes, my first reaction is I wanna hurt the cop.
Right.
I definitely want to get at the cop. Um, that's definitely gonna be my first reaction, right? Um, but the amount of time, and I guess for him, opportunity knocked, and he was like, "I'm taking it,"
Mm-hmm.
right? But not all of the information, about what transpired
Mm-hmm.
had been released.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm trying to wait to see what's going on. I mean, I could, not to be messed up, but I could get the cop whenever I want, pretty much.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Some are saying
But
that.
I,
Some are saying that. Why did he feel? And once again, people are trying to ask logical questions with a person not in a logical state. So, for instance, you're asking why did he decide to kill a random cop for no reason? Who wasn't even involved? I believe the cop was doing traffic duty, and you decided to kill a cop. Why did he make that decision? You're trying to ask a rational question with somebody who is clearly irrational at the moment. Like,
I hear you, and that's tough, because I'm looking at it from a rational position.
Right.
You know what
Both
I
of us
mean?
are. Right.
And my thing is if I got as criminal, if I have a criminal as a son, it's something that I almost have to expect. Because if I tell them, don't do that, stop doing that, you getting in trouble, da da da, you doing stuff that you're not supposed to be doing,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden you get shot. Like I have to understand that that is something that may happen to my child.
Right. And we don't know. And we don't know
Now,
the history.
now,
We don't know that did the son have a history of crime? Did he have was this a one off situation, or was it something that he was just a bad kid?
and that's what I was trying to look for. I was trying to look for a lot more information on the kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't find really any information on the kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the type of stuff that you're getting on the internet is very limited. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I don't know, man. I don't know. Would I go that route? Probably. To be completely honest, probably,
The problem is you
probably.
can't answer that because you're not. Once again, we're speaking in a state of mental legit. Like we're speaking logically. This was a man not in a logical state. Now, here's it's a great transition to the second portion that we were talking about, and that is okay. Let's talk about you as a father and why would your son or daughter put themselves in a situation like that in the first place? Because a lot of people are saying, well, you're all out here taking a man's life who had nothing to do with your son or your son's murder or killing, and you took his life, and yet where were you when he was up to no good? So speak on that as far as like the looking at him as a father, and did he have any shortcomings? Because in my
See, but
opinion,
we
great fathers
okay.
doesn't always equate great kids.
No,
There,
yeah.
there's plenty of examples of great fathers who are in their two parent homes with shitty kids. Like like that's a fact. There are instances of that. So I don't know if you can necessarily blame the father in this instance and say, well, why did he put himself in that violent position in the first place?
I We were kind of frozen on the thing, but um, I don't know because I don't know the father's history, right?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't released any of that information, and usually, not for nothing, it's weird that they haven't released any of that information because it's the first thing that they try and do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's gonna.
It's
I mean,
put
you know that's gonna be the play. I mean,
Yeah, but that's the thing though. They haven't done it. Like that's kind of weird for me because that's what we expect, right? Now you start talking about his record, how many times he's been arrested, da da da. Da. It's of course, look at the father. That's why the son and this, that, and the third. They always correlate one to the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know. I know that as a parent I have my struggles. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I consider myself um, not the best, but a good parent. I try to be. You know what I
Right.
mean? I try my best. Um, but that's the thing, though. Everybody's idea of what a good father is kind of weird, right?
So let me
A good
ask.
father.
So let me ask you
Uh,
this
get
question. Let me ask you this question. Is there any correlation between a bad, or is there any reflection between a bad kid and their parents? Meaning, if you see a young man or young woman uh, acting a fool, maybe in a mall or whatever, or obviously in an instance like this, does the parent bear some responsibility?
yes,
Even if they're 18 and they're out on their own and they're doing their thing,
yes,
they do bear some
yes,
type of responsibility.
yes.
Why?
Because your child is going to act that way if you allow him to act that way, and it's not the first time that they're acting that way.
I don't know if
Now
you can.
I know kids will act a certain way in front of their parents, and then when they're alone, you know what I mean, and
Exactly.
then with their friends, it's kind of
Exactly.
is different, right? But it depends on the type of communication you have with your kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
In a perfect world, you have this open communication with your kids where you can talk about certain things and discuss certain things and just be open about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which it kind of helps to form your kid, right? And they start understanding. The thing is that this generation right now, I don't know. Kids are motivated by different things.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because you're saying, well, yes, the kid has to be held. I mean, the parents have to be held responsible, or they bear some responsibility for the kid's action. But
Hmm.
then you just admitted to acknowledging sometimes outside things tend to influence kids, whether their parents are great parents or not. There's like I said, I've seen plenty of instances of kids in two parent households, and they've been disciplined, and they have some sense at home, but they get around the wrong group of people, and then just they end up putting themselves in situations they're not supposed to be in. So what responsibility is that? Because once again, we can't follow them everywhere they go, especially when they're 17, 18, 19 years old. I mean, technically, they're not an officially adult, but they are deemed an adult. They can serve the military at 18.
Yeah.
So if somebody's willing to put their life on the line for the country, all right. So when does the responsibility stop?
The problem is that life lessons, they haven't gone through any real life lessons. I'm sure kids at 18 years old. There's a lot of kids that have gone through a lot, right?
Hmm.
But uh, just because you're quote unquote an adult doesn't mean that mentally you're an adult. They think they're adults.
Hmm.
They act like they're adults, but they don't have any life experience when it comes to being an adult, having to take care of yourself, fend for yourself. They don't have any of that experience. They'll
Right.
tell you that they tell you that oh, I take care of me, this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? But when you look at them, you ask them, well, where do you live? Oh, I live at home.
Right. What's
And who
home?
buys your clothes?
Right.
My parents. Who gives you the? Or like, no, you're not an adult. You're an adult when you go out into the world and you fend for yourself. And then you understand how hard it is to be quote unquote an adult.
Right.
But even with all that, we have adults that act like children also. So
That's what I was about to say. So all right. So let me ask you this: what is your reaction to the social media trend where there are a faction of people who are actually defending the father, Rodney Hinton, and saying that this is a case of an eye for an eye. You take one of mine, I'm gonna take one of yours. Especially after the court appearance and he's leaving the courtroom, he's eyeing. He has his head up. He apparently says something to the because all the police officers lined up. I guess in solidarity because they had a fallen, a fallen
comrade or whatever.
comrade. Um, and so a lot of people say, "Hey, this is what happens. This is an eye for an eye." What's your thoughts on that?
I don't understand why. Listen, if you're gonna do something like that, right? You didn't do it to the police department. You did it to the dude that killed your child. All
But
you're doing is antagonizing people. That's all you're doing. You know what I mean? And eh, we know that for a cop killer, regardless of whether you're justified or not, it's not gonna be a pleasant state.
right,
Why are you antagonizing? If I did something like that, I would stand on what I did and why I did it, and just keep it at that. Just keep it at that.
hmm,
Because I didn't, I'm not in there saying I'm gonna kill all y'all. And him walking by all those police officers like, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it. I'm like, see, those are some of the things that you look at and you be like, all right, so what is this dude really about?
right,
You know what I'm saying? Is he street like that? And if he's street like that, then now we kind of get an understanding of why this kid was kind of doing what he was doing, even if he was just hanging out with these kids in a stolen car. But they all knew it was a stolen car
right,
because they bolted as soon as they saw the cops.
right,
You knew that they knew they were going to get in trouble.
right. Um,
I don't know.
my thing is this though, because a lot of people are comparing it to. I think of it as the moment of, and there's a bit of a comparison. Obviously, the circumstances are different. You ever saw a
Mm.
movie A Time to Kill with
Hmm.
Samuel Jackson? Okay, right. And so for those who don't know about the movie, A Time to Kill, it's pretty much about a black family in, I think they were in Louisiana, I believe. It's about Samuel L. Jackson's character's daughter is raped by a group of
Hmm.
white men, and he takes it upon himself instead of going to the authorities. He takes it upon himself and going to the courtroom and shoots and kills both men that raped his daughter. Okay, and so a lot of people are kind of making that comparison. Well, this is an instance of an eye for an eye. You hurt my daughter. I'm going to get the guys that killed my daughter. I'm not going to wait for the police. This is different in a way where you killed the random man that had nothing to do with the case. But I will also say there is something happening in this country. And if you're not seeing it, if you're not paying attention to it, you need to start. Because we as a people of color, especially black people, I'm not saying there's going to be copycats out there, but I think we're also kind of tired of the system. We're tired of seeing situations like this. Like, oh, what's the story that just came out? I want to look this up. Oh man, this just happened. Tyre Nichols. Let me. All right, here you go. Now, let's segue into this story for a bit, and then let's delve more into this. Okay.
Okay.
Do you remember the Tyre Nichols story?
No.
Okay, so Tyre Nichols was a man who was caught by police and was brutally beaten on tape by a group of police officers. Okay, he worked for FedEx. He was an amateur photographer, and I don't know if you remember the video. It came out a few years ago, and it was clear as day that these group of police officers were beating on this man. Just recently, just yesterday, they were all found not guilty. 3 of the officers were found not guilty, even though they're on video showing them killing this man. See, some might say, well, those are 2 different cases. Not really, because we're seeing a system where, and mind you, this isn't a black and white issue. These officers were black. Okay? So this is the system we're talking about. I think you're seeing a lot of people in our demographic who are tired, and they're going to decide to do things and take things into their own hands. This is why you're seeing a faction of people saying, yeah, I'm riding Rodney. He should have did that, because you know what? We don't want to see another court case where these cops get off and we have to look at the video 1,000 times and see if there was no gun or there was a gun, was it just or unjust, and this kid was shot in the back and so on and so forth. Don't be surprised if you start seeing a lot more of this. Not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying people are going to react, especially when you're dependent on the system that you don't trust at all.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying, and I get it, and yeah, you may have a lot more of this happening, but there's fear.
Mm-hmm.
There's fear. I've walked down the street, and there's a woman in front of me, and I'm just walking down the same street that she's walking, and she'll look back, and look back, and cross the street. They're afraid of us, right? But there's a lot of there's a lot of reasons why they're afraid of us. So we keep on talking about cops killing people of color, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I really, really don't hear about us trying to stop killing each other.
Yes, we know. Yes.
Like, there's a lot more of that happening in this country. And I'm not saying that this is not important. This is definitely important, and it needs to be addressed, and something has to get done, right?
There's a difference, bro. There's a difference.
Well, listen. I don't care about the difference. When you look at sheer numbers,
you can't say you can't care about the difference.
Listen, because
rational human beings don't go through police training and learn about de-escalation and have a certain protocol, and you can't compare that to general people in the public. You can't do that.
Yeah, but the thing is,
you don't bring that up with you don't bring that up with other races. I hate when we do that to each other. Yes, you're right. Yes, I'm 100% on board with what you're saying. But once again, when we come out the womb, there's no training in terms of, all right.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. But wait, preach. Listen, I understand what you're saying, and I get it. I can't hear you.
What are you talking about? Go ahead.
Oh, now I can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not saying that both things or one thing is more important than another, but I'm gonna tell you, with sheer numbers, we're killing each other at an extremely higher rate.
Right, but that's you.
And we don't. But see, the thing is that we don't talk about that enough.
Yes, we
We
do.
don't.
We 100% do. That's not
No, we don't,
true.
because in the media and in social media, these stories will blow up, and I understand why. I get it. I understand, but why is it that we keep on killing each other
Okay, but
at the at the at
you
the
don't
at these tremendous rates?
But that's I hate that argument just because you don't say that with any other demographic. Asians kill Asians, whites kill whites, black kill blacks, so on and so forth. And it's a proximity issue. One, two. Once again, when we are talking, looking at police officers and their relations with people of color, especially black people, okay, there is a long history, extensive history of abuse in those departments.
Yes.
Okay, you are supposed, as a police officer, you're supposed to be higher, a bit of a higher ground. You're supposed to get training on this. You're supposed to act a certain accordingly, right? You have you get paid to protect and serve. Okay, so you go through a certain training. Okay, that's why when you see cases like this, all right, it's gonna get put to a spotlight. It's gonna get put to the front street because
Yeah,
cops.
but we expect cops to have the training to de-escalate things, right? But most of these cops don't know how to deal with us.
That's a different. Well, that's a different
Yeah, well, yeah,
conversation.
but
That's a
no, it's
systematic.
not. No, no,
Yes,
it's
it
not.
is. It's a
That's not.
different conversation.
It's not. No, it's not a different conversation, because if they go in a situation already scared, their first thing is going to be, I'm going to defend myself. When I
Then
have to
don't be
kill
a
this person,
cop.
I will.
Then don't be a cop. That's like
That's but
that's like becoming a football player and be like, God, I hope I don't get hit. And it's, if I get hit hard, I don't. Man, it's gonna suck. Yeah, then don't do that. And I understand your argument in terms of yes, like it's not an easy job. I'm not one to say that it is, not by any means. I'm not saying that, but you do understand the circumstances you're going to be in. Okay, and I would
no,
believe
some of them
you.
don't. Some of them really don't.
Then they're doing a shitty job of training, my friend. They're doing a
No,
shitty job of
they're
training.
doing a shitty. They're doing a shitty job of putting people on the force that shouldn't be on the force. You cannot be put in a situation where you can't handle.
All right, first off, let me check. Let's say what's up to everybody on the Instagram chat because there's people watching. I want to give them a shout out. I'm gonna butcher your name, my dude, so I apologize.
That's
W
Big Bill. That's Big Bill.
Big Bill, what's up, Big Bill? He said it's a paycheck, and that's true too. Like, well, I'll get back to that, but I want to shout out everybody else who's watching. Time is money. Mac is watching. Blizz Kodak is watching. Drew Bear Kiani's watching. I believe she better be. So, Jay Finesse. Shout out to all y'all that are watching. So, one thing that he does bring up a point that it does not get acknowledged. You're painting this whole police department as like, well, yes, it's a hard job. A lot of them go into it. You would like to think their motive is to protect and serve and watch over communities. A lot of them kind of get into it because it's great benefits, good pay, and you get a lot of perks of being a police officer.
Yeah, and you get a pension after 25 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean, to paint this thing where it's like they're all Captain America. Let's kind of chill out. A lot of people, a lot of police officers in their positions, a lot of them. Let me not say a lot of them, but there's a demographic of them that are not in it for the right intentions. One and two are not trained correctly in those departments. So, I'm not trying to give an out, but I just hate when people use the argument of, well, we kill our own. Yes, that's with every demographic. Yes, that's
Yeah,
true.
but we
You're
but
not
that
wrong. But
it's
it's
something,
apple and oranges.
but that's also something that needs to get addressed.
Okay, listen. We're doing. That's another thing. Like, this is why it bothers me too. It needs to get addressed. It does get addressed plenty of times. But just because cameras aren't there and you don't see it on Fox 5 or Channel 7, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. There are plenty of organizations in those neighborhoods who are trying to change things. There's entertainers, celebrities, athletes who are doing the things to try to change this, but it's not spicy enough. It's not a good slant. It's not a good story. It's not going to put eyeballs in the story. What do you think is going to get more clicks on a story? Young rapper goes to community and raises funds for a nonviolent initiative in the community, or police officer gets into confrontation with black teen in said neighborhood. What do you think is going to get more clicks?
Well, the thing is that nowadays, if you wanted to get out there, if you wanted to get out there,
Mm-hmm.
you will be able to do that because you have the power of putting it up on social media. If you are an entertainer, you're putting it up on social media,
Zay, I
and
could put a bunch
everybody
of stuff on
else.
social media. I could put a bunch of stuff
No,
on
no,
social
I'm
media.
not talking about
No,
you.
nobody.
I'm
No,
not talking
no.
about you, but we're talking about famous people here. We're talking about famous people who have hundreds of thousands of followers. If they're really doing what you say they're doing, then you should see it.
You do see it, but they don't get the same clicks. It's just you see it and you might like it and you keep swiping. If you see them getting caught cheating with whatever, they're gonna like it, they're gonna share it, they're gonna comment it. The engagement's different. That's all it is. We like spicy. We like dirt. So we like to dig in. We're a bunch of pigs in dirt and slop. That's what we like. That's what That's what the overall community likes. We like slop. We gravitate to slop. We'll share slop. We'll comment on slop. Cleanliness is not sexy. It's not spicy. It doesn't sell. No one cares. So for you to say, oh well, if we don't, if we're not doing anything that happens with our own people and us killing each other, then why should we care about this instance? That's not fair because there are plenty of organizations, plenty of movements, plenty of people who are trying to stop the things that are happening in these communities. It's just not sexy enough. Fox News is not going to come out there. Let's just keep it a buck. They don't care. They don't want to see good news. When you watch the news, what do you want to watch? Bad
Yeah,
news.
that's the reason why I don't want to. That's the reason why I don't watch news. They don't. They don't feed us anything positive.
Mm-hmm.
All of it is negative. All of it is negative. All of it.
Because it
They'll have
sells
one story. They'll have one story.
at 11:59.
2 minutes.
Right.
2 minutes. Out of here. Next up, man shoots. Da da da. Guy rapes. Da da da. Man pushes. Da da da. I'm like, really?
Okay. So
And,
what?
it's.
Go ahead.
I mean, you have a point. You definitely have a point.
I
Yes,
know. I know.
the media always is going to put negative shit up because that's what sells, right? But there has to be a way for us to I don't know, man. It's just frustrating when I do watch the news. Oh, another kid gets shot in the Bronx. Another kid got shot in Brooklyn. Another kid. Oh, gangbang of this. Da da da. Da, da, da. I'm like, yo, what what are we doing?
But there's a certain. Okay. Once again, though, you're right. But once again, you're talking about situations in the Bronx where you're dealing with 16, 17 to 25-year-olds in the streets who we don't know their family life. We don't know none of that. But they running and gunning. Granted, you're comparing that to an institution where you have men who choose a career, who go through a certain training, who should know better, and they're held to a different standard than the general public. That cannot be forgotten. So that's why I think a lot of, not just this instance, but every instance where you see a police involved shooting, and a person of color involved, this is why people get riled up. Let's not forget. People make it seem like the history between black people and police officers is. I don't know when it got. I don't know when it got hostile. Like I don't. It's surprising to me. Like it's always been a history of that. All right, back to the story though. What do you think happens to Rodney Hinton? What do you think ends up happening? I'm interested in getting your thoughts on this.
Oh, he's gonna do time. He's gonna do life.
You think he's gonna do life?
He's gonna do life. Because
You,
at this point, even if they find out that the cop was dirty, doesn't matter.
mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter because they're not gonna justify the murder by letting him out.
If you were the judge or you were part of that jury, would you sentence him? Would you sentence him? Excuse me, to life by the letter of the law and all the evidence presented to you? Would you sentence him to life? Because I'll tell you, I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
but I don't. I can't make that call. I can't make that call.
This is why.
What are you gonna what are you gonna do? You're gonna make it okay. See, once you do that, then it becomes open season on cops. Then it
No,
becomes open season on cops.
no.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Because if he got away with shooting the cop or killing the cop, people are gonna be like, well, such and such case on such and such date, given these facts, da, 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 da. Whoever gets in those type of situations, they're gonna try and use that case in order to get out.
So you don't believe you don't believe in temporary insanity. You don't believe in that at all. Because you just acknowledged that if that happened to you, you can see how you can lose your
See,
mind.
no, 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 no.
That
You
no,
didn't
no,
mention that.
no.
You didn't mention that. No,
This
no
is the
way.
case, Jose. That's the case
I
I'm talking
got you.
about.
I understand what you're saying, but you didn't mention that, right? If it's temporary sanity and they can prove it, no, he shouldn't go to jail.
But that's what he's trying to prove. That's what the lawyer's trying to prove.
All right, that's what the lawyer is trying to prove.
I asked you, okay, what do you think is going to happen? You think you said you think he's going to do life based on
Yeah,
the
I think
story.
he's gonna. I think he's gonna do life because even if they try and prove it, it's gonna be very, very, very hard.
How? How is that hard to prove?
I'm telling you, it's gonna be very hard for them to prove it.
How? When you okay, I'm not a lawyer, but I would think is you would put it this way: a man watches his son die, doesn't see evidence of a gun, gets shot, and he sees his son shot in the back. Mentally, he's no longer there. He's no longer with us. He's not part of this world. He's on his payback time. Okay, that's in any instance. You want to replace a kid shooting with his kid dies of cancer. You want to replace it with, has a car accident. You want to replace it with any instance of a parent losing their child. Okay, especially when it's as tragic as this and somebody's responsible for it. Somebody like you lose your mind. You can lose your mind and not have any control of what you're capable of anymore. You don't know. You're not there anymore. I don't know how if you've ever been upset to the point where somebody better not bump into me because it'll be the wrong day for them. Right? You've been there, right?
Yes, I have.
Then imagine
But
that 10 times folded.
all right, so going back to the injustices, right? Do you really, really, really think that they're going to be able to prove insanity?
No, well, no. I'm just asking in terms of what you think is going to happen. This is my position on what I think is going
But
to
that's
happen.
but that's the
Now,
thing, though.
now, in terms of reality and what you're talking about, the actual case, I think he's gonna end up doing life because I
See,
think
well, I love the way you beat me up and then agree with
no,
me.
I'm talking about in terms of the system. I'm talking about what we're looking at and what the situation is. Yeah, I
In
think
terms
he's
of
gonna.
yeah, but I got to look at the
If it was
system. I
me,
got to look.
if I was the judge, that is a instance of temporary insanity. The man lost his mind. He lost all rationale in living. Like he was not he was not moving logically. I'm sorry. Like any man that was he and nothing made sense at that moment. The only thing that made sense is somebody's got to pay. Somebody has to pay, and the first person that got to pay is somebody part of that the police department. And I'm going to take him out. Forget the fact that he did probably who knows if he knew the officers involved, how many were involved, or where they were stationed, or where the precinct was, or no. He said, "Nah, like if the next police officer I see, I'm getting rid of him." And once again, I'm not. First off, and I think we should have started the show off with this. Condolences go out to both families: the families of that police officer who lost his life, and the Hinton family for losing their son. Both instances are tragic, and obviously losses of life is always a hard thing to discuss. But this is real life. This is the world we live in, and unfortunately, things like this does happen. And I just find it funny watching it in social media and people sharing their opinions on this. And it's either, well, he got his get back, so I don't understand. Let's start this GoFundMe and let's go start paying for this stuff or whatever, whatever. You can even see his lawyer like, bro, I'm going the insanity route. Y'all could go with some other story. This what you think is justified? Nah, this man lost his mind, and he decided to take matters into his own hands. So let's get back to the comments. Yeah, so Billy said what? That there was a story about a cop in Philly who got shot trying to break up a fight outside of a school.
Yeah, I looked. I searched it up.
Nobody.
Yeah, it happened today.
Once again, nobody's denying that the job is dangerous. No one's denying that. We can all acknowledge that, yes, being a police officer is not easy. It's hard as shit. No one's denying that. What I will say, though, is that, you can't be surprised that you find yourself in certain instances and be on some, well, I didn't know the job entailed this. Like, what? No, I'm sorry. You can't. That can't be a crutch. That can't be an excuse. If you can't handle it, then don't become a cop. In my opinion, it's just that simple. I don't know. So it is what it is. So yeah, you think they're gonna they're gonna give him life?
Yeah, I think he's gonna get life. I I think he's gonna get life.
Um, I'm trying.
I could understand temporary insanity. I could definitely understand it. Definitely, 100%. That's your child. That's a piece of you.
yeah. That's like you know
I get it, but is he going to be able to get a fair shake like everybody else?
probably
Is he?
not.
No,
Probably not.
probably not.
Probably
Probably
not.
not.
Probably not. I mean, and listen, and there's this whole movement of law and order that's going through this country, and people are trying. And I'm not saying it's not warranted. Are the streets
Hmm.
crazy right now? This guy's leaving the screen as I'm talking to him. Yo,
No, I
one,
can hear you. I can hear you.
yeah, they can't see you, Lemonhead.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
No, they say,
My
yo.
allergies. My allergies is killing me right now, bro. I need to blow my nose. Sorry.
This guy just straight left the screen. Let me see who's the IG. Shout out to y'all, man, for watching us. We appreciate the love. And so they gave him no bond. More than 50 police officers and 3 dozen of their families protested were seating in the courtroom. Um, let me see. Let me see. I think that's the thing that sucks too. Is like the real unfortunate part about this was a police officer who had nothing to do with this who was directing traffic ended up losing his life because of this. Like that's the worst part about this. It's like that guy had nothing to do with this, and he lost his life. Um, yeah, I think that's what's gonna do him in. It wasn't like, and I'm looking at this freeze frame of the body cam footage. I don't see a gun, but you are right. It is fuzzy as hell. Like you can't really tell. Like, oh, and what do you think about? So there was this woman. Oh, let me get her name. Did you see this video? This woman who was saying the N word.
No.
Oh, so let me break this story down. Oh, let me woman. I gotta put it in the Google search N word woman. If you're in the chat, let me know what her name is. I'm gonna. Here it is. I'll read you the story. This is the world we live in. This is the post-racial world. So this is for the people who believe like racism is over and they don't understand why people keep we're just race baiting here.
Hmm.
There's a classic story of why they should shut the fuck up. So there was this video of a woman in a playground holding her kid, and she was repeatedly shouting the N-word to a black kid who was autistic. Now apparently there was a conversation between that kid, I think he was 5 years old, and her son, and a patron saw her calling that kid the N-word. He decided to videotape her and confront her. And, anytime something like that happens, they end up going viral. Now, she has accumulated. Let's do an over under. What do you think the amount of money she's raised from her GoFundMe? The woman that recited the N word.
She's probably somewhere in probably in the 100,000s.
Go higher.
She's past them. Is she by a million?
She's more than halfway there.
What, in the 100,000s? Yeah,
She's
yeah.
no 600,000.
Really?
She was able to raise $600,000 because she is frightened for her life. Oh, what is her name? Why can't I see her name? Her name was everywhere. What the hell is her name? So do me a favor, Zay.
What?
Tell me, explain the situation to me. As I've explained it to you, how does a white woman, go from reciting the N-word to a 5-year-old child who is autistic? How is she able to raise $600,000? Please explain it to me.
Because just like
Shiloh Hendricks, that's her name. That was her name, Shiloh
all right,
Hendricks.
but so just like we have individuals who are opposed, we also have people who side with individuals. And I don't know, am I crazy? But to say that the majority of them are Caucasian, would I be crazy by saying that?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you got to remember, there's more of them than there are of us in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Still, for the time being, at least. Um, and there's a lot of them that have real strong opinions about us.
Crazy.
People of color.
Do you want to hear some of the comments she got with some of her
Oh my
donations?
God,
You want to hear? You want to hear?
I don't even want to hear it. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, some of the notes on her donation forms. One said, "White unity will unite." Another one said, "Black excellence fatigue." Another person said, "Aunt Jemima." Another person said, "White stand strong," and "White rise." These young generations of whites are sick of the bullying, intimidation, and being made to shut up about race issues. I wonder who they voted for. Just gonna put that
It's
out
funny.
there. I'm wondering who they
Yeah,
voted for.
but
But
what's funny is what's funny though is they are not the ones that have been stopped, from talking about race issues. It's us that have been stopped from. Everybody keeps on telling us
yeah,
that
DEI
we should not
conversations.
be,
There's a
you
wokeness
know,
and yeah, and
you,
all
you
that.
know what I mean. That, yeah, we shouldn't be talking about that anymore. That's in the past. That's not now. All these things. But when you're looking at the opportunities and all this other stuff, um, it's difficult, right? It's like, well, you can join the crowd, but you got to catch up. There's already too much space. You know what I mean? It's like catch up. It's almost impossible at
It,
this point.
I find it funny. What did you? So my thing is, did they just expect for her to just say the N word, and we'd be like, "All right, cool, have a good day," and just walk away? Like, what's the expectation? Like, here's another quote. They call us racist because we are white. Nothing will ever make them happy. They've given trillions of dollars. They've been allowed into our schools and our neighborhoods, forced upon
See,
us. And
that's
wait, let me finish.
that's funny though. That's funny because they have been we have been
Forced
forced. They have
upon
been
them. Yeah.
forced on them. See, just because you said that, you don't look. That individual doesn't look at us as equal. Like we shouldn't have the same things. That's crazy. Holy crap.
But like I said, I just wonder who they voted for. And yeah, and this woman, so and out of fear for her life, and her threats and so on and so forth, she was able to raise $675,000. I just wonder what they expect like how did you expect the interaction to go? Like, you say, like if somebody, so Zay, you're walking, some guy says the S word to you, they just expect you to be like, all right, yeah, cool, peace out, have a good day, and just walk away, and you were forced upon them on that sidewalk. Like, I don't understand, like, their thinking in this whole thing. That's amazing.
Yeah, isn't that
Amazing.
amazing? It's
It's
like, oh,
amazing to me.
okay, so you let them drive cars, you let them eat.
You let them eat. You let them learn our language.
But it's funny though. And listen, I you know, sometimes I have conversations with friends of mine who are Caucasian,
Mm.
and they're like, "You're racist. You're racist." Not that I'm racist. It's that it's just obvious things that are going on in the world, and if you can't see it for being obvious, then there's no way for me. And the thing is that Caucasians they can only speak from where they are. They've never been a person of color. So how is it that you're going to talk to me about being a person of color? You can't. You can't. It's not like
Yeah,
a
but
suit that you put on and today you're black. Like, and so you can go through all the different situations. And that was a funny thing though, that I saw something years ago where a guy who dressed up like a black person and understood what is it that we go through. You know what I'm saying? I forgot the
yeah.
name of the show. It's
Black. It
something
was
that
called. It
I
was
it was
called. It was called Black and White. Ice Cube produced it. Yes, I remember that show. I think it was on FX when it first came out. I do remember that show. That was the weirdest. First off, the makeup was horrible. Like,
horrible.
I was like, my God, you're white with black makeup on. Like, what's happening? There was no. Yeah, I do remember that show. Yeah, it was called Black and White. It was like I think it had like 11 or 12 episodes. Dang,
Yeah.
yeah, you brought it back with that one. Yes, I do remember that. The problem is though, the fact that we engage, I don't engage in it. I know people like, and there's nothing wrong with you engaging in those conversations. You fall for the trick of if you bring up race, you're racist. Like that's the play they like to use. If you're gonna bring up race in any way and saying it has an effect on anything in this world, immediately you're a race baiter and you're racist. When in reality, if you want to ignore the fact that race has had a factor in this country, in our society, and every faction of it, and you just want to ignore it, then there's no like that. Then we should. I'd rather not get into that conversation with you.
Well, I like to because I like to. I like. I like it. I
You're
like to
not.
have
You're
those
not. You're not changing.
conversations.
You're not changing minds. Have you?
I mean, I may not change minds. I may not change minds, but still, in all, if more people talk about it, if we have intelligent conversations about what's truly going on in the world, then maybe things will change. Or we don't speak, we don't talk, we don't converse, and then people just stay the way they are.
You know what's
I don't
funny?
know.
You know what's funny? There's a group of, and these are black people. I want to get your thoughts, and then we'll get to a hard R.
Mm,
Uh, there are a group of black people, and they do pose good points that they don't mind segregation.
yeah,
You've heard that, right? Like they don't have a
yeah.
they haven't
It's
because
like
they
it's like
believe.
that whole community. It's like that. I don't even know what happened with that, but it's like that whole community down south in I believe it's Georgia, where they bought all this land and they want to create their own black community.
And I'm not. It's it's not. It's not as offensive to me as it might be to other people because they do raise some good points. It's like you keep the black dollar in our own. We have our own community within. We make our own thing. Like and based on the civil rights movement and just America in general, we developed things for black people, BET, the Apollo, things of that nature. They do make some good points. Like maybe we should go back to segregation. I don't necessarily agree because I think there's a benefit to mixing the pot and all of us integrating, but yeah, there is a group of people that be like, yo, let's kind of go back to that, which is kind of crazy. All right, let's get to hard R.
Okay.
And first and foremost, let's start with Bill O'Reilly. R, A, or nay?
Hmm.
You know who Bill O'Reilly is. I don't have to tell you who. He used to host a show on Fox News. He's the famous for the "Let's do it live." It's like, you saw that clip. Bill O'Reilly.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think he's with News Nation now. Bill O'Reilly, R, A, or nay?
Well, let me do some research.
You really have to do research on this one, my guy.
No, no, no. Well, you know what I like to do is I like to know where the individual's from.
I mean, my guy. Like,
Understand? Like I don't know where he's from. Where was he born? Where was he raised?
oh,
So
all right, yeah, go
he was born.
ahead.
He was born. He was born in New York City.
Okay, right, because that's gonna change anything. But go ahead.
Well, it does change because if you get one of these guys who were born in the sticks, somewhere in Middle America, will they say nigga? Yes.
But you make it seem like because he's from New York, like he's never heard
I
the
didn't
N
say. I
word.
didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
okay. So
Right.
what's your verdict?
Um. Um. I don't think I neither.
You're bugging. Oh, you're bugging. You don't think he's ever said the N word?
Nah, I don't think so.
I'm gonna say a hard R for that one. Man, really?
Really?
Bill O'Reilly? Hell yeah, I believe he's used it. Hard R and all. Facts. Yes. That's just my opinion. This is all just opinion. I don't know if there's any tapes or literature of him using the word, but I believe wholeheartedly. Hell effing yeah, hard R, smothered in it, gravy, all that. Um, you say neither. You say nay.
Nah, I say nay.
Really? Okay. Sean Hannity. R, A, or nay?
Sean Hannity.
Yes. Come on,
Hmm.
man. Come on, man. You really have to look this one up? This guy's
Hmm.
crazy, man. This guy is
I'm not.
crazy.
I'm not crazy. Why am I crazy?
I, you're not. You're right. Maybe you know more than me. I'll give you that. I'm just
No, I won't say that. I won't say that. This guy's
Sean.
also born. This guy's also born in New York.
Yeah, he does a show on Fox News.
Yeah.
R A or nay.
Hmm. I don't know. I don't fucking like him at all. So,
You're gonna just because you don't
um,
like him, you're gonna say hard R.
yeah, he says some wild shit. I'm gonna say R. Hard
Okay.
R.
Yeah. Finally, my guy. Like, what are we doing? Yes. 100%. Hard R with a side of all that good
Wow.
stuff. All right. Last, but not least. Do you know who Bill Belichick is?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, he's out here. He's out here crazy with it. Dating a 24. She's 24. He's 70. He's in the 70s. That's all that matters.
He's
Uh,
73.
he now coaches the University of North Carolina. Obviously, he's known for being the head coach of the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick, R, A, or nay? This
Hmm.
this is for
Hard
me.
R.
Really,
Hard R.
this is an interesting one, man. Let me look at his face.
There's a lot of dudes that play with him that don't fucking like him.
Yeah, I mean,
A lot of them, and there are a lot of guys who are of color
and
that
mind you,
don't fucking like him.
he's been around. Obviously being a head coach in the NFL. You're around a lot of black guys, so
Oh, my
damn.
boy Bill said that players probably gave him a pass.
Nah, I don't even think so. Nah, some
With
players, yeah, the white ones, Bill. Those are the ones that
the
go out
white
there.
ones, Bill.
Like, come on, man. Um, damn, this is tough for me.
I can listen. I think in his youth, definitely. In his youth, definitely. Because I can't hear him say, "Come on, get in there, nigga." I can't hear him say
It's
that.
definitely not A. I don't think he's ever said the A.
Nah, but hard R,
It's,
hard
from
R.
it's either hard R or nay.
He's from Nashville,
Oh,
Tennessee.
damn it, Bill.
See,
Uh,
this is the reason why I look up where they were born, because there's certain areas where it's just
no,
like
Sean Hannity
it
and
just
Bill O'Reilly to me is like that's easy. I don't care where they were. I could tell they
flows
flows
off the tongue.
exactly. You could just look at their face and be like, "Yo, yeah, you definitely said it." Damn, Bill Belichick, has he said hard R or never said it at all? I'm gonna go with damn. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he's never said it.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no.
Hmm.
I hope he's never ever. I hope, pray to God, he's never ever 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 said it. One last one before we go. Tom Brady, R, A, or nay?
I
Oh,
oh
I know. Tom Brady, R, A, or nay? This is multiple choice too, because he could, you know what I mean? Like they could use the R and the A. I definitely believe he's used the A.
you think so? You think
Yeah,
he's gotten a
A.
pass?
I don't know if he said it around other players, but I think he's definitely said A. Listen to music in his car or whatever. So definitely A.
Hmm.
I'm not sure about the R. I'd be so. I mean, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he said the hard R. But what do you think, Tom Brady, R, A, or nay?
Nah, I don't think so.
You don't think he's used A either?
Nah,
Really? Good for you.
nah. But if you say somebody like Joe Namath, how
No,
about Joe Namath?
no, nay. I saw his documentary. No, nah. He
Hmm.
actually stood up for black athletes during that day. Yeah, he's very liberal. He was like one of the. He's very liberal for that time. So I definitely don't think he's used that word, even though he went to Alabama. But yeah, I don't
How about
see.
Larry? How about Larry Bird?
Oh, that's a good one.
I
Larry Bird. I'm
don't
not.
think he did. I don't think he did either.
Damn, that's a good one, Zay. Good one. R A or nay for Larry Bird. Hmm. Yo, he was so good at basketball. I think he gets a pass no matter what. I mean, he used to laugh when they used to put white players on him. He used to be like, "Yo, you're gonna put the white guy on me? I'm gonna kill this guy." So I don't know. I'm gonna say never.
Because Larry is almost like an honorary brother.
Yeah, like you know what I mean.
You know what I
He's
mean?
one of the first.
But even with all that, do you think that he would use, let's say,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
not R,
He's
but
around he's around his
but
friends, and
not R? You think he would use the A? See, the thing is,
No, I don't
remember,
think A.
we're
I don't
talking
think
about
A.
but we're also talking about a different generation.
I don't think
We're talking
A.
about a different generation.
No, I don't think A. I don't think he is either R or never. I don't think he's hip enough to really say nigga. Like I don't nah. I don't think he's that hip to do that. Do I believe he's ever said hard R?
Hmm.
Probably when he first saw Magic Johnson, but after that, I think he was like, "All right, I gotta chill, because this guy's crazy good." Probably the first time he saw him, he must have been like,
Yeah, but if you
"He's
know
from
what, if he
French. He's
it,
from French Lick, Indiana." I mean, it's racism is in the grass over there. You know what I'm saying? So
oh
it's
God,
it's in the grass. It's in the dirt. You feel me? But I think he probably has said it when I'm gonna give the pass because he might have been young when he did it. But I think once he hugged Magic and you know got cool
yeah,
with the
but remember
brothers.
that, yeah, but he wasn't cool with Magic until later.
Yeah, but
They didn't hit it off right then and there, and not for nothing. If he would have called one of the players a nigga on
oh no, it would
it,
have been
they would have been
some
thumping. So I don't think he ever called anybody
nah
hard R, and I
nah.
don't even think an A. I don't even think an A.
So you're gonna say never.
I'm gonna say never.
All right, man. Let's get up out of here. This was a good show. Got a lot of stuff out our chest, man. We'll be back next week with Kiani. Will I be in? I'll be here. So we'll be good. Any parting words, sir?
No. Just thank you for everybody who tuned in.
Yeah,
You
people
know, I
locked in. People
appreciate all
checked
the
in.
love.
Yeah, people checked
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Whatever we're doing on the Instagram, I want to keep it on the Instagram because people was definitely. Shout out Bill, man. Bill he's a day one because he started when we were just doing this shit as a pilot. So
Yes,
yeah, man,
sir.
shout him out.
Bill, every time I what's it called? I logged in. I shoot a message out. He was like, "Yo, I can't see you." Like the one that we did when it was like bugging out.
Yeah.
He's like, "I can't see it. I can't see it." So
All right.
that's